Hello, welcome to Are You Creative, the podcast about creativity in Essex. This is a special side quest episode because I have taken the studio, run someone's house, and I've done that because they are 84 and they're not so mobile. So I thought I'd take the podcast to them. I left Sangeeta at home because I thought she might be a little bit too much. So we've tried to keep it calm. Obviously, Sangeeta is well crazy and high energy. So trying to keep it calm for Jack, who's my guest. He's actually my neighbour. He's amazingly funny and kind and very humble considering what he's actually done in his life. Jack was the lead scientist at Ilford Photographic papers. He was instrumental on putting man on the moon, which is pretty amazing. He filmed the first Queen's speech ever to be televised, and he created the technique for photo finishes for horse racing. So if you've ever lost a bet or won a bet on a photo finish, blame Jack or thank Jack. So yeah, it's a little bit more calm than usual, this podcast, for Jack. And his lovely wife, Irene, has joined us as well. And so you probably hear her laughing in the background because, obviously, like I said, Jack's very funny. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast and enjoy listening to Jack, who's done more in his life than any of us will ever do. Let's go. Let's hear what Jack's up to.
Let me try again. Talk to me again.
Why? What have I done now?
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you very much.
It set me up.
I haven't set you up. I was going to get this going.
What I do a little bit of an intro. So sit tight, and then I'll tell you when you can join in. So, you ready?
Get on with it.
That's 84, Jack's first podcast. You're allowed to. You can be verbal. It's a verbal podcast.
In which case the answer is yes.
So welcome to the Are You Creative podcast. Today you'll notice Sangeeta's not with me. I'm on a solo mission because I've come to see a VIP legend. And we've actually taken the studio to his house. So you might notice the sound quality is a little bit different. But again, we've got some fantastic creative stories here. And we've got today's guest is, what's your name?
Jack.
Jack what?
Holmes.
Jack Holmes.
Which has got an L in it.
Jack Holmes with an L, and we're in the home of Jack Holmes because he's VIP, so we've come to see him. And Jack's going to tell us about the amazing creative things that he's done in his life. Jack Holmes.
Yes.
Are you creative?
No.
Why are you not creative?
People ask me to do a job and I do it.
So, you should probably tell us. I think you are creative. This is why I'm talking to you for the podcast. Can you tell me about the job that you did?
I can tell you a lot about the background. To talk about the job that I actually did requires a lot of scientific knowledge. What you ain't got.
So you were the lead scientist for a company.
Well, back in the 1960s, there was an interest in space travel. The countries like the political advantages they could get from it. The Russians sent a dog into space, if you remember. No, you don't, because you're too old.
Was that the Leica? Was it Leica?
That was Leica, was the dog.
Yeah.
Went into space.
Leica actually had a camera named after the dog.
Uh-huh.
Is Leica a camera named after the dog?
No.
No, but you are.
The dog was Laica. Leica, the camera, is Leica. So no connection whatsoever. But the Russians had done this and brought the dog back safely. And the Americans had this new president called John F. Kennedy.
Heard of him.
Who made this statement. I was going to say a stupid statement, but I won't. That we shall put a man on the moon by the end of the 70s. It's a typical politician's remark was that, we're going to do this. What it actually means is somebody in the organisation is going to try and do it, and if it goes wrong, they'll get the blame, not me. And if it goes right, I'd be hailed as a great president.
So you think he wanted it to happen during his presidency?
Oh, yes, he did. I'm sure he did. The rockets already existed that could go to the moon, coming out from World War II and work afterwards. Putting people on the moon, I'm sure Kennedy never realised this, it's an entirely different matter. Can you put people safely on the moon and bring them back? What sort of clothes do they have to have on? How do you feed them? Is there radiation on the moon which could harm them? Is the moon's surface safe enough? These are the sort of questions that people don't ask. But these are the sort of things you've got to sort out.
So how did you come to sort out some of these questions?
If you look at the last two things I said, the radiation and the moon's surface, there's a fairly obvious connection with photography.
So they needed to survey the moon's surface?
They needed that. I think they were probably more worried about what radiation could do. And as of the 60s, photographic film was used with X-rays to take pictures of people's bodies. So it was fairly natural to ask people who designed films to, can you do us a film to send to the moon?
So they wanted you to design a film to send to the moon to basically make sure that when the astronauts went there, they didn't get microwaved from radiation.
Yes, I suppose so, yeah.
And was it anything to do with sort of finding safe places to land or suitable landing spots?
Well, they'd already identified, I can't remember what the place was, as an area where they thought they could land. It was interesting in that, one of the few interesting bits of it, why did we get the job? There were 3 photographic companies at the time. Kodak, Ilford and Agfa, they were the 3 biggest in the world.
And Kodak was an American company.
Kodak was an American company. NASA is an American company.
Might have heard of them.
Yes.
You would have thought they would be the best people to take the photo of the moon.
Yeah, as I understood it at the time, Kodak said, we don't want the job, we're too busy designing colour film, and there ain't no money in it for us.
That's only the most high-profile job in the world.
I don't think it was thought of as that. So Agfa and Ilford both said, yeah, we'll do the job. And again, I think Ilford got chosen over Agfa because there was still a bit left after World War II against the Germans.
So you were working for Ilford at the time?
I worked for Ilford for 42 years. So yeah, I was running a specialist black and white laboratory at Ilford. We dealt with if you like, the funny things.
The funny things, the special projects.
The special projects, yeah.
And what was your job title there?
Emulsion chemist I was.
Emulsion chemist?
That's what I was called, yeah.
But you were also the lead scientist?
It sounds poor. Yeah, there were only 3 of us in the group. We designed all sorts of funny things.
And so tell us about the film that you developed for the moon.
Oh, I'd rather talk about the race finish recording film.
We'll talk about that later as well. So
that was more interesting to people in this country than going to the moon.
So when you told me that when you were making the film to go to the moon, basically Kodak couldn't make a film fast enough.
That was for the surveying the moon for the landing, to see if the moon was safe to land on. The problem was you need a very fast film when you're speeding across the surface. And something most people don't think about, the moon emits yellow light.
It's very yellow. It's because it's made of cheese, isn't it? Cheese is very yellow.
Yes. So we had to design something we could photograph cheese
High-speed
at
cheese.
high speed. We had to get a dye in to coat on the silver halide. The high speed wasn't a problem as far as this job was concerned. Normally, high speed goes with fairly low quality film.
Is that's a balance you have to think
You
about?
can't do anything about that. You need bigger crystals to get high speed, and the bigger crystals have got less resolution. We were not stuck with the high resolution. We wanted enough, or they wanted enough resolution to be able to check where the rocks were on the surface of the moon.
And how did you test the film to make sure it was going to work before they sent it up?
It was tested in a laboratory that was run by one of Irene's friends, actually, Lynn Martin.
And they moved cheese past it at really high speeds, did they?
No, they fired light at it. Sorry, Nick, no.
So firing yellow light at very quick speeds past it.
Yes, and see what sort of response you get, yeah.
So you were very confident by the tests that it was going to work?
That one was fairly easy. The radiation one was probably, well, it was more difficult.
And that's not a lab you want to be in at the same time.
No, I mean, we worked with the radiochemical laboratory at Amersham because they'd got a fair amount of experience of beta rays, delta and gamma rays at the time, so they could provide the nasty radiation and we could provide a film, and we spent time testing with Amersham again that the film would actually record these different radiations, and we had to calibrate. I mean, it's not only whether something is hit by an X-ray, it's the strength, the intensity of the X-ray as well. The higher the intensity, the more likely is the damage. So we had to create a series of standards from the film and from Amersham.
And when this film went up, obviously this is pre digital cameras and any sort of transmission. So it went up, had to take the photos, and then come back down to be developed before you knew it had worked.
Yeah, I mean, there was another problem involved in that. We didn't want it disturbed is not the right word, but we didn't want the film jogging about going to and from the moon because it could have distorted the results. So we had to work out how to coat it. We ended up coating it on a glass plate. Then we needed a container for it.
Yeah.
To make sure that it wasn't destroyed on the way.
And you've got John F. Kennedy looking over your shoulder here, like thinking, come on, Jack, get this right.
I don't think so.
He must have had a very special interest in this mission and the results of it, though.
Let's move on somewhere else.
So when after your film had been to the moon and come back and they've recovered it, did it come back to Ilford for development?
Yes, it did. And NASA wanted the results, and as I understood it, the results were that it was safe to put a man on the moon. The radiation levels were no higher than they were on Earth.
So you pretty much took the most important photo of that year.
Never really thought about it, Nick. I'm sorry, but it was a job and we did it.
I know you say it's a job, you're very humble. But the moon mission, putting the man on the moon wouldn't have happened without your photo. Why haven't you got it framed on your wall? Why is it not in your wall? Yeah.
If you framed it and put it on the wall, all you'd see is a series of lines of different intensity from light grey through to black. That's all you'd see.
So it wasn't it's not a pretty photo.
It's not something you cherish for your children. I don't.
So you think when Kennedy got this photo, he probably looked at it and said, What does it mean? What is this?
Kennedy wouldn't have even got the photo. All Kennedy wanted, Kennedy has proved right, we put a man on the moon. Excuse my language, but sod all the work that went into producing this thing. It's just that they got there. And I don't think people realise then, I don't think people realise now, the amount of background work that goes into doing these things.
Well, I think so. If you're going to spend billions of dollars on sending something, I mean, the film better work.
Yeah, but it's a minor part of that.
I don't know if you know, I sent a tandoori lamb chop into space once, into the stratosphere, and with a GoPro, and I didn't know whether it had worked until I got the GoPro back, and it was a very nervous moment, getting the memory card out and checking, because I thought the lens could have fogged up, the battery could have failed, the camera could have just fallen backwards, and I could have got nothing. So that was a really, really special moment, putting it in and seeing that it had worked. I was very scared. There's so many bits that can go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that particular job wasn't something that we worried about. We were asked to do something. We'd done it. We were confident in ourselves that it was work. So we'll move on.
You did it. You did another bit of amazing work, didn't you, with the Queen?
Oh, that was the first television broadcast that Queen Elizabeth did, which was in the early 60s and was done at Windsor. And they wanted a photographic record of it. Windsor is, I mean, I've been there, is not a very bright place.
In Windsor Castle?
There's not a lot of light in there.
Just through some arrow slots and some stained glass windows, is it?
Yeah. So we had to produce a film that would show the Queen up in her best light.
And this is a moving film, or
this
is it
was
stills?
a moving film, yeah.
So this was the first video recording of the Queen's speech?
Yeah.
Wow. And this was Queen Elizabeth II?
'Twas indeed. I know I am ancient, Nick, but Queen Victoria had been dead for a few years before I was born.
So young Liz was on film here, and what happened? Did you actually go there, or did you develop the film?
I made the film, developed it, and processed it.
And I heard there may have been some problems with the first film.
Someone told me.
Do you have to bring that up? All right, it got scratches on it, yes.
How did it get scratches on it?
Scratches on it on the coating machine, because there's a bit of dust on the coating machine.
So
Before it even went there, it had scratches on.
Yeah. We hoped that the bit that she'd got didn't have scratches on it, and I don't like being reminded of that. Thank you.
So when you came back and it developed,
because the people in charge were not happy.
What? Well, you don't want to upset the Queen, do you? So you got Robert F. Kennedy on your back one side, you got the Queen on your back the other side.
Kennedy, I couldn't care about.
You want to please Liz, though?
Yeah. No, I think what annoyed me was, I got it in the ear because I put the film together. I didn't coat the thing. It was coated by somebody else in the lab.
So, Jack. So it came back and it developed, and you checked the film and it had scratches on it. So what did you do? Did you flip a table? Did you go crazy?
No, we made another film.
So you had to say to Queen Elizabeth, "I'm so sorry. Could we come back and do it all again? Get your posh clothes on and your makeup done. We're going to film you again."
Well, I didn't say that because I'm not on that sort of terms with her. Somebody else did.
That must have been an awkward conversation.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't there.
So, and that was that televised on the BBC from your film?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty epic, isn't it? That's quite amazing that you've been on the front seat for history with the Queen's speech and the moon landings.
Oh.
And you're just humble Jack. You say, "Oh, it's just a job." But there must have been a reason why you got picked as the best person to do these.
I was running the lab at the time, yeah.
So how did you end up running the lab that made the film to film the Queen and to go to the moon?
I went to Liverpool and studied inorganic chemistry in Liverpool. I never really got into photography. I got into chemistry at school when I was doing my O-levels, and I wanted to stay on and do A-levels. I've always been interested in learning new things, and I did the standard maths, physics and chemistry for A-levels.
Just the easy ones, the easy A-levels.
Just the easy A-levels, yeah. One of the questions on my physics A-level paper was, what is the escape velocity from Earth to get to the moon?
That sounds easy.
And that was in 1959.
Yeah.
That didn't provoke any interest in them.
No. So you had no creative ambition. You just wanted to do chemistry.
I wanted to do chemistry because chemistry was something you could learn a lot about, and it was pretty logical. So having finished my O-levels and A-levels, and I did have 12 O-levels and 3 distinctions at A-level, so presumably I wasn't too ignorant, and applied for universities.
And you did chemistry at uni,
I got offered a place at Liverpool to study chemistry. So I went there, and what do I remember most about Liverpool? I stayed with this lady who had a daughter by the name of Irene.
Oh, Irene. I think I know Irene. She's a good-looking lady that lives next door to me, isn't she?
Yes. And that's probably the best thing that came out of my university life. We got married. And then I needed to get a job, so did what all graduates do. You stick applications in to all sorts of places, cross your fingers and hope you get a job. And Ilford, who were pretty big photographic company at the time, offered me a job at the salary of £765 per year.
A year? No way.
Wow.
And was that a lot of money at the time?
That was a lot of money at the time.
Wow. That's about my day rate now.
So the job was actually at Ilford, which is where the name comes from anyway. So I came down here, worked down here, and then we found a house, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Which was very expensive at £2,200.
£2,200 for a house.
And we had to negotiate a 30-year mortgage to raise the money to buy this house.
And this is where we're sat right now?
That's where we're sat right now.
£2,200, that's amazing.
Which is worth a lot more, I think.
That was 3 years' salary for you. I just did quick maths then. That's 3 years' salary.
Yeah.
Amazing. Who'd have thought that, Essex, this Ilford lab. Ilford was in Essex then, wasn't it? It's still in Essex, isn't it? Ilford. Yeah. But how incredible is that Essex, our beautiful county here, was key to the moon mission. Kennedy couldn't have done his moon mission without us in Essex, and also the Queen's speech as well wouldn't have happened without Essex and without Jack. And Jack, I think there was something else you wanted to talk about. You were going to tell us about race finish film?
That's probably, to me, that was a much greater achievement.
What is race finish film?
Well, at the end of horse racing, if the leaders are neck and neck, you need to know who's won. There's probably millions of people around the country wanting to know, did my horse win or did it not win? We take it for granted these days. Endless repeats
VAR and playback, yeah.
to the stage where you think, turn it off, I've seen that 10 times already.
So how quickly could you turn around a photo of the finish, this photo finish? How quickly could it be developed?
10 minutes. The photo was taken. We had to do it at high temperatures, as far as we're concerned, which was about, 45 degrees centigrade, I think. We did the developer at. And we could produce a result, as I say, on this particular film in 10 minutes.
So when the race finished, every race finished there'd be a photo. Someone would rush that off to be developed. The whole horse racing stadium would hush and wait to find out the results.
Yeah.
And all the bookies would nervously be looking at how much money had been bet on each horse. And then someone would run back with it, would they, to the marshal?
Yeah.
And they'd say, that's a bit like a horse selfie, isn't it? do you ever get any horses smiling for the photo?
So whether a horse won or lost was all down to me.
And you had to once again develop a really fast film, was that?
No, it wasn't a fast film as such. I mean, you're just taking a photograph of an event there. Yeah, about we wanted something about 600 ASI. The trick was in the development. I mean, normally with film in those days, it would take 10 minutes or so to develop it, which may not seem a long time, but if you've got 50 quid on a horse, it's a very long time. And they wanted something fairly quickly.
And I assume they had a lab there at the horse track as well. So you would have had to develop the whole process.
Well, no, I didn't. Somebody else developed it.
But I mean, set up the whole production line for photo development.
Yeah, I mean, these were negatives. You didn't go to prints for the results. You just looked at the negatives.
Would they publish them in the papers as well ever?
One or two were published in the paper.
Some amazing ones. If the horse was smiling or it was a particularly good-looking horse. And so, Jack, what difference was there between the photo finish film and the moon film, for example?
The speed at which it would become available through development. Development being converting the silver halide crystals into silver. With your normal films, as I say, it would take 10 minutes or more to actually produce a negative. In our case, the finished negative had to be in front of the viewer as quickly as possible.
Mm. And so when you're watching the Olympics now or something like that, and you think, look at the 100 metres, you think, I did the first one. I did the first photo finish for anything. Where else did they use your technology after horse racing?
I've got really no idea.
One for dog races, Walthamstow dog races.
They could very well. We never used to wonder what happened afterwards.
No.
Did you never like go into work with the newspaper and go, look, they've got one of my photos in the newspaper?
No.
Because now I've got a hall of fame in my house with all of the things that I've done whenever I get coverage in the newspaper. I love to get it up on the wall. And it surprised me when you told me these stories and I look around your house and there's no photos of the moon, there's no photos of horses smiling, no photo of the Queen, signed photo from Queen Liz.
There's not a lot of photography around here. I was never really into.
You don't want to take your work home with you?
No, I mean, I'm sorry, but it was a job.
I know, you're so humble. Now everyone would be showing off about this.
I mean, to me, all I can do is liken it to, I am a crossword fanatic. I do a crossword a day, it's done. It goes in the bin. We move on to something else.
Yeah, but a crossword's never put a man on the moon.
Not quite.
Maybe. I bet they've probably done a few crosswords on the way to the moon, though.
Could have done.
4 letters. It's made of cheese.
And glows yellow.
And glows yellow. Shall we talk about the X-ray film that you developed? You were talking about some medical film where they're injecting people.
Yeah, that was beginning of the 1970s, I think it was. X-ray film had been around for a long time, but they were looking for blockages in arteries, and help me out on that one.
See, this is why we've got Jack's wife, Irene, the beautiful girl that he met at university. Irene's like Jack's memory bank as well, aren't you? You've got a shared memory. You can't remember. So last time I came around, Jack said, I think they injected people with some sort of, not radioactive, is it bro? Oh, I can't remember what it was now, so that you could show up on the film.
Yeah, it was injected with a green radioactive dye which into the veins, which would go around the body. You then take the X-ray, which would show where it stopped. And that was the point at which they needed to scrape whatever was in there out.
And this was your film that was responding to the X-ray.
It was a film we designed at the time.
You must have saved quite a few lives with this technology.
Well, I think the doctors did, not us.
But the identification's the important bit at the start, isn't it?
Well, the identification again is the doctors. Where something is, that's down to the film.
You can't go scraping every artery, can you?
I hope not.
So, this radioactive green dye that they were injecting in people, do you think they made a few superheroes from this? Did anyone get spider powers or Hulk powers or anything?
No, I think a lot of people lived longer.
I mean, that's a good superpower.
Probably an achievement. I mean, yeah. They're still doing it these days, except it's digital photography.
But you were a pioneer, though, in this field.
There's a strong word, is pioneer, again.
Just doing your job.
Somebody knew what they wanted. You get a description of what they want, and you do it.
I love it. I love that you have been at the front seat of history, all these places, and you just, it's just a job. I just did this thing and went home, put it in the bin. I put the moon in the bin.
Nick, it was a job which provided the money for my family to live and grow up on.
Yeah, the £765 a year.
Well, it did go up quite a bit, I must admit.
But you as well, some of your children, your grown-up children now, have got quite creative jobs as well. So I think there must be creativity running in your family.
Yeah, I mean, it's a subject I'm more than happy to talk about. In that, Irene's creativity is in the arts, my creativity is in the science. You put them together. So we have an eldest son who is quite an eminent scientist, actually, Ian. We have a daughter who is a designer, and a youngest lad who's a bank manager.
So you have your son Ian. Is it Ian who he's involved in lighting for live productions and Highlands House and the hospital radio in Chelmsford as well?
No, well, he was in hospital radio a very long time ago.
But it's good. There's a lot of contributions to the local creative scene. Do you know what? I think we're going to stop here. But Jack, thank you so much for all of this all your amazing stories. Have you enjoyed being on the podcast at 84 years old?
Oh, I still feel no different to what I did when you came in, Nick.
This has not been a transformative experience.
Not really, no. End of story.
And thank you very much, Irene, as well, for your time, for sitting in and filling in a little bit as well. So thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the Instagram at r.u.creative.podcast. And also I have to thank Lorca Media for lending us the mics for this as well. And, of course, New Generation Development Agency and Essex County Council. Thank you. And once again, thank you very much to my guests, Jack and Irene. You can say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.